Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom Yamini, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisroel. May Kadosh Baruch Hu, may God continue to protect our brave soldiers, and may God return all the hostages from Gaza immediately. The Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Edward ben Efraim, Shlomo ben Edward, and Yirachmiel Daniel ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted, and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Torah portion is the longest Torah portion, Parshas Naso, Back from Beyond. Our Parsha begins with God telling Moshe Rabbeinu the transport duties of the three families of the Shevet of the tribe of Levi. The first family, called Gershon, carried all the tapestries, the veils and skins used in the Mishkan. The second family, Kahas, was tasked with transporting all the holy vessels that were custom made for the service in the Beis Hamikdash in the Mishkan. The last family, the Merari family, were entrusted with carrying the Mishkan's structural components, the beams, pillars, sockets, and boards. God then tells Moshe Rabbeinu about two unique types of individuals, the Sotah and the Nazir. The Sotah is a woman suspected of adultery after she is seen going into seclusion with another man, specifically after being warned not to associate with him. She becomes forbidden to her husband and must be brought to the Beis Hamikdash for a spiritual and physical test, where the Kohanim would write this specific Torah portion on parchment and soak it in water until the ink dissolves. The Sotah must drink the water, and if she indeed committed adultery, her belly would swell and she would die. But if she was innocent, not only will she be spared, but she is blessed with peace, with happiness, and children. Conversely, a Nazir is someone who voluntarily vows to separate from certain physical pleasures to reach greater holiness. A Nazir refrains from wine and grape products and does not cut their hair and must avoid contact with the dead, even from a close relative. However, a question comes to mind. After listing the transport duties and responsibilities of the families of the tribe of Levi, the Torah takes an unexpected turn. It returns to the laws of the Metzora, the person afflicted with spiritual leprosy. Unlike other forms of impurities that restrict a person from entering the Mishkan, the Metzora, the leper, is sent entirely outside the camp, cut off from community until they are declared pure by a kohen. But these laws were already taught in detail just a few parshas ago. Why are we repeating them here? And why now? Right after the service of the Leviim is described and just before the Torah turns back to the laws of teaching us what the Kohanim do in the Beis Hamikdash and in the Mishkan. Rashi, Rav Shlomo Yitzchaki, the leading Torah commentary, gives a simple explanation. And he writes that the Torah is now detailing the three concentric camps within the Jewish encampment, each one with its own holiness. The outermost camp was where all but one tribe lived. The second camp surrounded the Mishkan and was occupied by the tribe of Levi. And the innermost camp was where the Mishkan itself was, the holiest space of all. Rashi explains that the Torah introduces different forms of impurity to show how each one affects a person's status within these camps. A Metzora, due to the severity of their impurity, must leave all three camps entirely until they're purified. By contrast, the other types of impurities, the other individuals who are impure, may only be restricted from entering the tribe of Levi's camp or the actual Mishkan, but can remain amongst the rest of the nation. However, the Aruch HaMakadesh, Rav Chaim ben Attar, a Moroccan commentary and Kabbalist, gives a deeper and more profound explanation. And he writes that the Torah is not just outlining who must leave the camp, but also showing that there is always a path in. Every form of impurity, even most severe, comes with a process of tshuva, of return. The Metzora was banished from all three camps, but not forever. Once their purification process was complete, the Torah provides the steps for how they may re-enter, and not just re-enter into the first two, but into the Mishkan's camp, the holiest of them all. The same is true for other individuals who were temporarily distanced, each one given a specific way to rejoin the Jewish community and the Jewish camp and reclaim that spiritual connection. According to the Or HaChaim, this is the deeper message. God never closes the door permanently. Even when someone is spiritually distant, even when they are sent outside of all three camps, they are not cut off. There's always a path to return. And God's presence rested on the Mishkan. But no one is eternally excluded from that presence, from that holiness. The Torah repeats these laws here to remind us that no level of impurity can cancel out the possibility of closeness to our Creator. Even when the journey begins with separation, it ends with a reunification. The process may take time, but the invitation to return remains. There's always a door back to the holiness, one that not only opens, but one that is pure, one that yearns to become whole once again. And God ensures that every soul, no matter where it is and no matter where it stands, has a way back home. This profound lesson is ever more relevant as we come from the holiday of Shavuos, when we receive the Torah not just as a memory, but as a present-day calling. No matter where we stand now, no matter how distant we may feel, we are still within reach. The opportunity to reconnect, to return, to step closer into God's presence remains open and available for all. Moshe Rabbeinu, in his final speech to the Jewish people, says a famous pasuk, Ki karev elecha hadavar ma'od beficha ubevavcha la'asesai. The Torah is not far. It lives in your words, in your heart, in your choices. And even when you cast yourself outside the camp, even when the path seems hidden, you are never fully shut out. The road to do tshuva, the road to return, may take effort but is never fully closed. There's always a way back home. In our daily life, it is imperative to realize that we always have the opportunity to return, to begin again, to move forward. Each morning we wake up and each day we are gifted is filled with endless possibilities and openings to realize our godly potential, to see our physical purpose, and we are not defined by where we have been, but what we choose to go next. The path is always open. The only question is whether we will take the next step. I saw this profound quote that truly spoke this article in this podcast and this episode into existence. Exile is never the end of the story. It is the space from which the next redemption begins. Have a great weekend and a good Shabbos. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.